Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman Lois Season 4, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for Episode 6 for this season. Can't believe we're already on Episode 6. This episode otherwise entitled When the Lights Come On, but of course, here's the trailer.
I have a plan. I know exactly how this will end.
Luthor is losing control, and he will take you down with him.
You can barely hear anymore, and you have Lex Luthor breathing down your neck.
I am not what I was.
Welcome to being human.
So just quickly, you might have heard me say that the episode's called When the Lights Come On. Now, I did see that like TV Promos DB and I think a couple of other places have the episode down as being called A Regular Guy. From what's been known, A Regular Guy is the title for episode 7, while When the Lights Come On is the title for episode 6. So, bit of confusion there, but just thought I'd clarify, at least from what I know, that the title for the episode is When the Lights Come On. But speaking of When the Lights Come On, we had the Rage Red Lights come on for Lex Luthor at the end of last episode after the last-ditch effort, I guess, from the Lois and Clark side, of the Superman and Lois side, whichever way you want to say it, in regards to trying to, make Lex see reason. Doesn't really work out when they bring his daughter Elizabeth into Smallville to try and reconcile. But Lex is just so dead set on getting revenge on Lois Lane that even that won't work. So where Lex goes to next, who knows? But I think the fact that Doomsday has now been let free, or at least has some influence, or it can be influenced by Lois Lane, isn't going to make things easier in regards to the vengeful side of Lex Luthor. And this trailer definitely emphasizes that Lex is now going down a more ruthless path, I think. But of course, before we get into the actual breakdown of the trailer, we will quickly read out the synopsis or description for the episode, as it gives us a bit more context as to certain things that are happening in this episode. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, theories, predictions, expectations, just anything like that. Let me know in the comment section down below in regards to thoughts about this trailer and this upcoming episode. And of course, if you go on to enjoy the video, drop a like. It takes 2 seconds. Luthor plans to move Luthor Corp to Smallville, but finds opposition in Lana. Sarah faces a difficult decision, and Clark confronts Luthor face to face. But to start off the trailer, I have a plan. I know exactly how this will end. Now, this is, of course, Lex Luthor. He's talking to someone. We don't know. I'm assuming it's Amanda McCoy. I'm assuming it is, but it could be someone else, which might play into something later in the episode, or at least later in the trailer. But you have to assume it's Amanda McCoy. But anyway, we see him like smashing up his room while like all this is being said, with furniture being smashed and him punching the walls and the support beams very hard with fists and then bloody fists. And unlike Jonathan from a few episodes ago, this punching and stuff is not activating any dormant powers for Lex Luthor, unfortunately. So that's something that he's gonna have to deal with. But this anger and firstly, that really does emphasize where Lex Luthor's heading to now. Like, he's actually been fairly level-headed, I would say. Like, end of last season, he just come out of prison. He was a bit fresh and stuff like that, so there's a bit more rage and stuff. But I'd say this season has been fairly level-headed because he's had the higher ground pretty much from the get-go from this season. Now, he's on the other side of it. Now Lois has a bit of the upper ground. Superman has a bit of the upper ground. He thought he killed Superman. Superman's now alive. He doesn't know what he's doing necessarily. So now his plan is like ever evolving. And when something isn't planned, it ends up going a bit mad, and they end up with a bit of a madman. That's maybe where Lex is heading down. But all this anger and rage that we see from Lex Luthor, and I guess also hear from Lex Luthor, does play into the next part of the trailer, where we hear Luthor is losing control, and he will take you down with him. Now, I think this is Lois talking. At least it sounds like her, but it could be someone else. But during this, we see more of Luthor. He's almost like being a recluse, I guess, inside of his room in the hotel he purchased. And I think this plays into the fact that he doesn't necessarily know exactly what his next move is going to be. He doesn't have this alpha tool, I guess you could say, in Doomsday under his control anymore. So what does he do? Like, how can he go after the Kents when easily Superman could just pick him up and go, no, you go back there. No, I might not kill you, but you go back here. And he'll get to the point where it's like, okay, we need a restraining order, man. Like, you're getting way too close to us. So this makes me really interested to see where Lex goes, whether it is for the rest of the season, or I guess what is now the rest of the show, but just specifically this episode. Like, are we going to get Luthor Unleashed, if you want to put it, where he is just off the chains and there's really no control there, both within himself but the people around him? And also that's going to make him really, really unpredictable. like incredibly unpredictable, which who knows where that's going to lead, to be completely honest. I don't think anyone can, well, if you're unpredictable, you can't really predict what someone's going to do, can you? And it just makes you wonder what he's going to do next. Like, we know there's certain things that are laid out that he's going to do, but we don't know if it happens this episode. We don't know if we're going from A to B, or the moment that we're thinking, like when he has John Henry's suit in that other trailer, that might be point D or E, and then we have to go through A, B, C to get there. You can barely hear anymore, and you have Lex Luthor breathing down your neck. Now, this is being said by Jonathan to both of his parents, and I think this could be Jonathan sort of telling them that they are really underplaying the situation, that not just them, as, you know, Superman and Lois Lane, or even just the Kent family as a whole, but at this point, like, the city of Smallville as a whole is now in with Lex Luthor having his eyes so dead set on them. Like, he's not just targeting the Kent family or Superman and Lois anymore specifically. He is really going against Smallville, and especially if Smallville goes against him. That's something I'm really intrigued by heading into this back portion of this season. Is like the Smallville residents just going to accept him? Like, when he's walking around, everyone's already staring at him going, okay, well, that's Lex Luthor. This is pretty crazy. So do they just cop that, or do they revolt against him? Like, that's something I'm very, like that's heavily in my brain with this whole thing. But we do get a moment where we have some, like, an ambulance and some flashing sirens. So, like, what's going on here? Now, we see, I think it's Lois. It looks like it's Lois consoling Lana on the couch here. I believe this is the scenario that we saw in, I think it was the first trailer we got for this season, which showed Lana and Sarah being attacked by a masked person within their own home. It appears that this person is probably Otis, one of Luthor's goons, which we also had last season, and it was in, like, the opening 1 or 2 episodes of this season, but the person was masked, so it is hard to be 100% sure. Who knows, it could have been Luthor himself, but I doubt that it's probably that Otis dude. It feels like Luthor would send someone to do the dirty business here, unless it was relating to Superman and Lois directly, so it's probably that Otis dude. But it plays into that whole thing, like Smallville turning against Luthor. Like, if he keeps doing this to someone like Lana and Sarah, and then the news gets out that Luthor was attached to attacking, like, the mayor of Smallville in her own home, like, I don't know if Smallville would be, like, that friendly about it. And I do wonder if it goes another way, potentially. Like, he might not turn people against him, because he might convince Smallville to get around him, like we saw with, like, Morgan Edge or Tal-Rho in season 1. Like, that's a very important thing. They might come back to that point. But then again, like, and I mainly say that because of what the synopsis says, where, like, he's planning to move Luthor Corp to Smallville. And that's the only reason I bring that up. Like, maybe he might try and, like, convince them with, like, oh, well, I'll bring business, I'll bring money to the town. That might be a strategy that he uses. It wouldn't surprise me if that happens either, because there's also a shot in the mid-season trailer we got, like around this time last week, I think it was, and it showed him, like, clean shaven in a suit and everything like that, while most of this season, if not the entire season, we've seen him walking around in a leather jacket and some random shirts and jeans and stuff like that. He's never been really dressed up. In that trailer, he was dressed up as if he was, you know, businessman Lex Luthor. So I wonder if he tries to, like, flex on the town a bit and, you know, convince them a bit, like, hey, I can help you out here. But the last thing we get in the trailer is, I'm not what I was. And this is said by Clark, which is followed by Lois saying, welcome to being human. And I feel like we are going to get a steady increase to the reality that is coming Clark's way, or Superman's way, with his powers, and just his tenure as Superman, and actually being able to use his powers effectively going forward, if not at all. Because I think it's pretty clear they're going to be setting up that, like, Superman does retire, and that the two sons take on that responsibility of being the protectors of the world, whether it is just them two, or maybe some other people progress, like Natalie, for example, John Henry, for example, is still there, maybe some other people as well. But I'm just interested to see, like, the road we get there, because I don't know if they're going to reveal that Superman's going to retire in the finale. I feel like that will be the case. It just feels like a finale thing to do, especially a series finale. But I just don't know if we're going to get, like, any major hints before that, or it's just going to be this steady thing where, like, Clark's becoming weaker and weaker. But at that point, they can't make him too weak, because they're still going to have to give him a final hoorah, if you want to put it, as Superman. So maybe there's, like, this one final burst where he doesn't really die. It's not going to really threaten his life too much. But it's like, this was the last time he can really use his powers. You know, it's like, yeah, just like the final hurrah and everything like that. So they might lead up to that. I don't know how, like, heavy-handed they're going to be with it, but it just feels like that's going to be the way they do it. Now, of course, there's a big question around Doomsday and whether he's gone forever. I think we're going to see Doomsday again this season, but I think we might take a break from him until, like, maybe until the series finale. I think, personally, my theory around it is that it wouldn't surprise me too much if Doomsday is used as a way to sort of not redeem Doomsday, but he didn't really kill anyone, did he? Like he killed like a couple of Luthor's goons and stuff like that, and I guess temporarily killed Superman. Actually, sorry, he killed killed General Lane. So there's a big red X on him. I don't think he can redeem himself from that. But with Doomsday, I could see the show, because at the end of the day, he is Bizarro Superman that was against his will turned into Doomsday. I do wonder if they try and redeem him a bit where he might sacrifice himself to save Smallville or the world or whatever it is come the end of the season, whether it is the series finale or maybe the episode before the series finale. I don't think it's the last time we've seen him, but I don't think we're going to have like Doomsday v Superman again. I think if anything, it's just Doomsday showing up and doing a quote unquote heroic thing. I might be wrong. That might be the last time we see him, but it just felt like a weird way to say goodbye to that character that has just been like doing a lot of stuff early this season. It was just very quick. So I don't think that's it. I know a lot of people think that's it and they're sort of upset about it. But for me, like it just doesn't feel like that's it. Now, unfortunately, no promo images as of yet from when I'm making this video. No, I might like they'll come out like literally 2 seconds after I upload the video or something like that. But if they're anything of interest, I'll make a video on them or include them in a video. Like last week's ones were very interesting, showing the flashback stuff. So if we get another case of that, I'll include them in a video over the weekend or something like that. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions and everything we went over in this video. Always curious to hear what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.